Well, greetings once again. This is a special edition of The Edge with the Clif. I know you were kind of shocked when you were lured in here by a QR code that had a picture of me and Ozzy on it, but I did it for a reason to show you a contrast between the things that you've been afraid of and the things that you now cherish so. And there might be some kind of a switcheroo going on because if you look behind me now, that's not Ozzy Osbourne, but it's just as scary of a. Let's see if I can make some room here so you can see what it says. Yeah, there was a report on a news agency showing us five different right-wing opinions on Biden's blood red speech backdrop. Now that's a blood red speech backdrop that's comparable to something scary, well, like you might expect with somebody like Ozzy Osbourne, because I mean, you've always been afraid of Ozzy Osbourne. And I don't know how we did that. Yeah, here we go. You've always been afraid of Ozzy Osbourne, right? Well, maybe you shouldn't be so afraid of someone you know nothing about and someone who's just merely an entertainer. Now, look at all the TV shows and movies you've ever watched, and even the musicians that you've enjoyed and respected your whole life. They're all entertainers. Some of them had lifestyles that were disgusting. Some of them did terrible things out there in reality when they weren't on stage. But this guy, he's just obtained this very foul image, like he's some kind of a monster. And well, he created that because it sells really good. It's made him a lot of money, this big money, and taking what's probably irrationally believed by many people. If you think he's evil and you say he's evil, then you would assume he's evil, and everybody else will be afraid to check him out because that guy's evil. You don't want to mess with him. Well, let me tell you something a little about Ozzy Osbourne. He's got a new album out, and it's called Patient Number 9. And I think it can be an inspiring vessel, yes, of inspiration for the elderly in terminal condition, terminal elderly, a genre for terminal elderly. Think about that for just a minute. And if you listen to some of the words of his songs, he is he talks far more like Jesus than anybody I've ever heard think that they could talk like Jesus. Because, he says you can speak things into happening. Wow, where'd that come from? I've heard that before, haven't you? But I'm an indoctrinator, so I'm not moved in fear and guilt and control associated with most religions. Okay, so forget about the fear, guilt, and control. But the Patient Number 9 album, produced by Zakk Wylde, and it's quite an album. Got a lot of stars in there that you wouldn't think would ever record with Ozzy Osbourne, but they did. But the song Patient Number 9 has some lyrics that I find intriguing because Patient Number 9, there's a couple of lyrics that I don't think they sound like this. I think that the lyrics kind of give a creepy speech for themselves. I'm not getting out. No, I'm not getting out alive. I'm not getting out because I'm patient number 9. I wonder if patient number 9 is a code in the medical industry. Big black cat, it's okay. Ozzy's making a little noise in here this morning. I have a cat named Ozzy. He's got 2 little horns on his forehead like a goat. That's why I call him Ozzy. But he's an entertainer too. He doesn't mean anything serious by it. He's not doing it to hurt your feelings or anything like that. He's just a cat. But those lines, I'm not getting out alive because I'm patient number 9. That's why I wonder, is there a code? Are any medical people that can answer that question for me? Is the number 9 a medical code? I know that you can have a no code order that you could sign, which would mean do not resuscitate this. Do not. And that's a no code. It's also well, anyway, you can, well, people do that because they don't want to lie in this debilitative state the rest of their lives until they just finally crumble off into pieces and stuff. No. So Ozzy's song, Patient Number 9, might be a whole new genre for the terminally elderly or for the elderly with terminal conditions. After all, I mean, look, your grandparents, our great grandparents, our parents listened to music that was much different. What Ozzy did became heavy metal. So heavy metal for the elderly, yes, to comfort the elderly terminal patients, yes. All the patient number 9s out there. Some of us are patients number 9 without even, being hospitalized. And I know the drama of a video. They did make a video out of that song too. You can find it on YouTube. But if you watch it, I know you'll be scared because you're afraid. But I gotta warn you, when you don't know everything about somebody and you start talking about them to others to make it appear that you know this person you're talking about, well, since you don't have any facts to back up what you imagine they do because you know they're sinful people, they must be doing this, and well, that's where gossip starts, in your mouth. Well, you know what? Take that gossip, chew it back up, and swallow it. And if it makes you puke, fine. But you'll learn not to gossip anymore. Yeah. Taste the gossip that you spit out. Chew it up real good and swallow it. Okay. There you go. Because, all the people that you put in hospice and all the people you do not resuscitate, they did take their pills and they'd spit them out. That's in the lyrics of that song too, Patient Number 9, Ozzy Osbourne. Check it out. It's a whole new genre. Heavy metal for the elderly. Thought you'd get a little kick out of that. Besides, there is something scarier than Ozzy Osbourne. You ever had dementia or Alzheimer's in your family? How would you like it to be in the family of your president who's being treated the way he's being treated, forced to step up in front of lights and camera and action, and I'll bet you he wasn't even aware of the backdrop being blood red, like something that Ozzy Osbourne would produce. Now, you want to be afraid of Ozzy Osbourne. I think you should be afraid of what's going on with your politicians. And one other last little doodle while I'm here, because after all, this is a little special edition of The Edge with the Cliff. Every once in a while, I'll do one of these for you. The Edge with the Cliff, that's right. And the Ozzy Osbourne edition for now. And are you scared yet? Well, the only thing that you're afraid of is what God's going to think of you for watching me. Okay. And if you think you know me, even if you're related to me and think you know me, you still don't know me, because if you don't talk to me or come and see me once in a while, you have no idea. And so when people ask you, hey, how's so and so, you say, and then they'll say, well, you know what he's doing? He's doing all this blah blah blah, this Ozzy Osbourne stuff. Well, let me tell you about that line in the song. And my father, in his high school yearbook, they'd come around back in like the class of 57 he was, and they asked you, give us a quote, something, some words of wisdom for the years ahead of you. And what my father said was, and he said, I'll quote what he wrote, and it was in his 1957 Murdoch High School, Winchendon, Massachusetts, 1957 yearbook. Don't take life too seriously. You'll never get out of it alive anyway. That goes for all of us. Thank God we don't have to stay here.